Yo, what is up? It's your boy FinState with CB83A coming to you for another banger of a show. Shout out to you guys. Haven't been here in a minute. Let's get it cracking in this joint. Shout out to the homie Canes in here first. Salute CB83 and everyone. Let's get this thing popping. What's good with y'all, man? Watching this Lakers and Denver game. About to get this stream popping. We're gonna talk a little draft. Man, draft week coming up. Let's get it, man. Shout out to the homie Canes. We gotta go up for the homie Canes one time. Let's go ahead and get this thing cracking early. Let's go. Yes, sir. Shout out to the homie Canes for pulling up, supporting the kid. We about to go up, Canes. Let's go. Draft week. I see y'all. Y'all rolling in. Punch that like button on your way in. Let's get this thing rolling, man. Pittsburgh Dolphin in the building. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's crank it. Yeah. Yo, what is cracking? What is cracking? What is cracking? It's your boy FinState with CB83A coming to you for another banger of a show. What's good with you, Manolo? I see you in this joint. Shout out to the homie Manolo. We here. Let's crank it. Let's go. What's good with you, homie? What's good? The homie Riggy. The homie Riggy is homie in real life. What's up, bro? How you been? We got a link soon. Shout out to the homie Riggy, man. Let's go. Crank it. Members gang, all of that. We get it in, dog. We get it in. Let's go. Man, what's up with y'all, man? It's good to see y'all, man. 14 in the building. Punch the like on your way in. Love chopping it up with my Dolphins. Man, it's been a lot of chaos. Not really chaos, but it's been some narratives in the Miami Dolphins community, which it always is, right? That's the norm here, right? This is where we live. This is the norm here, right? Um, but it's been cool, right? The draft is upon us. We get to put a lot of these mock drafts to sleep and just kind of see what the team does. And I'm excited. I'm excited. I think draft time is always excited. You get to see which pieces you're gonna add into the fold. Get you some guys that can contribute, right? Help you win games, some pieces to the puzzle. I think that's what it's about, man. Shout out to the homie Glenn Pallick here in the building. Glenn, what's going on with you? Glenn's my guy, man. Shout out to the homie Glenn. Always checking on me, always trying to figure out when I'm going live. We live, Glenn. We are live, man. We live. Um, salute Kane. Salute Kane. Salute Riggy. Kane says this Florida heat and humidity ain't no joke. And it ain't even summer yet, bro. It's crazy out here, bro. Our neighborhood did like a yard sale today type situation. Bro, blazing outside from 8 o'clock in the morning till noon when we were out there, just blazing outside, blazing. But we had fun with the kids, made a little money, got rid of some stuff that we need to get rid of. But it was fun. It was cool. It was cool. Man, shout out to everybody in the chat. I see y'all in here. Do me a favor, punch the like button on your way in. I'm doing something real quick. I gotta send something out real quick. So what's been going on? Hey, talk to me in the chat. Tell me, let's talk. Tell me what you guys want to talk about tonight. Let's get it correct. I've heard some narratives out there. Some narratives I might want to put to bed at some point. Not sure if I'll do it tonight, but we'll address some of the stuff. But what's some of the things you guys want to talk about in terms of the Miami Dolphins? Like, what's some topics that are going on? What do you think we're going to address in the draft? Like, I honestly, I think with 21, you have some options, but it's going to be interesting to see what the Miami Dolphins do, right? Because we have kind of addressed a lot in free agency. So we've addressed a lot in free agency, and um, maybe we just get the best player available, right? Um, I did hear Chris Greer's press conference, and that was interesting. We're definitely going to talk about that. Um, yeah, yeah, there's some stuff that's been going on, man. There's definitely some stuff that's been going on. I got some guys that are probably going to pop by, um, and just have a couple conversations with me in regards to what the Miami Dolphins are doing. But yeah, man, let's get to it. I think hold on one second. I see Shake Money in the building. Shake Money, what's good with you, my boy? What's popping with you? Shake Money in this joint. Shout out to the homie Shake Money. Tom the Don in here. What's good? What's popping with you? Raul P in the building. Look at the members gang. Y'all wrenched up. Hey, StreamYard finally getting themselves together. I like to see it. StreamYard's finally getting themselves together. The emojis are popping up on the screen. I love it. The members gang got their situation going on. Raul P is in the building. Tom the Don. Defense or offensive lineman in the first two picks. I like offensive line for sure. And my thing is, I even said this the other day on the Miami Dolphins roundtable, because the Miami Dolphins roundtable was yesterday. It was Friday, right? So we kind of rotate between Friday and Tuesday. So if you get a chance to go check that show out, I was straight cooking TD. Doug caught a couple strays too, because he was kind of agreeing with TD a little bit. So Doug caught a couple strays. That's how that goes sometimes, but it's all good. It's all in the nature of the sport, right? It's like hip hop right now, like the beefing going on. It's the nature of the sport. It gets competitive, right? It gets a little fiery. So I gotta fire guys up at some point. And that's how it usually works out, right? Guys get cooked, guys catch strays, and it's business as usual. It's business as usual. That's what happens. But as far as defensive and offensive line, this is what I said on the roundtable. I said, hey, I'm fine with offensive line. I'm fine with defensive line, right? Whatever you do, the guy at 21 has got to contribute. He can't be a redshirt freshman type situation where he's going to sit behind the tackles and learn. No, if we pick a tackle, he better be ready to play guard, just kind of like we did Larry Tunsil, right? When we picked Larry Tunsil, we had Brandon Albert, we had what was the guy on the right side? I forgot his name. Jawan James, right? So we had a left tackle and a right tackle kind of already situated. But when we picked Brandon Albert, not Brandon Albert, but when we picked Larry Tunsil, he had to play guard, right? And then he ended up moving out to tackle. But he started at guard. I'm fine with picking an offensive lineman like a tackle and doing that, right? I think the value is at 21 is to pick a tackle, right? Tackles are guys that are out on an island by themselves. They're premium players, and this is what you've heard me talk about this. Premium players are guys that play on islands: corners, receivers, edge defenders, and tackles. Right? Those are very tough positions to play in the NFL. Right? And if you do it really well, you get paid. You get the money. You get the bag. So I'm fine with them taking a guard, a tackle, and putting them at guard, right? Um, I think the center position's kind of locked down. So I'm fine with them maybe taking a center, right? You can take a center. I don't mind it, but I'd rather take a guy that's like a premium player, like an edge defender, a tackle who can play guard, or who can be your future, because Armstead's on his way out. We got to start thinking about the future for real. We got to start doing that. We got to start preparing for that. So if that means, hey, draft a tackle, play him at guard. Next year he rotates the tackle, right? Because Armstead's retiring. That may be the move. That may be the move. We got to start thinking about the future. So I like it, Glenn. Defense or offensive line on the first 2 picks. I'm cool with it. I'm not gonna be mad at that. I know how important our trenches are. I'd rather go offense first because I think that's more important. I think we got a lot of defensive tackles in who will be guys that contribute. It may not be the Christian Wilkins of the world, but you don't need Christian Wilkins. You just need Christian Wilkins production. So if you can get that from 2 to 3 guys and rotate them in and bring them in platoons, by all means, that works for me. I'm not pressed. You ain't got to go get Christian Wilkins' replacement. You just got to get some guys who can replace his production, right? That's my thoughts on that. Riggy says, honestly, who you think is winning the division this year if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy? You think we'll have a better record than the Jets? I do. I think the Miami Dolphins will win the division. Now, you might say, hey, CB83 says this every year. I don't say it every year, but I'm saying it this coming year for sure, right? Honestly, we were very close to winning it last year, and I thought we were going to win it last year. I called winning the division last year, right? I called us being first, the Bills being second, the Jets being third, and the Patriots being last, right? We lost the game at the end of the season to keep us from winning the division, right? Injuries, whatever, it happened, right? This year, I think we have a better team than the Bills. I thought we had a better team last year, but we just got injured and we didn't play well on the stretch. And the Jets with Aaron Rodgers will be a good football team. I'm not going to say they're going to be a bad football team, but I don't think people take into consideration that Aaron Rodgers just had a detrimental injury, right? He's old, right? I think he's going on 40 years old, right? It's going to be difficult for him to play at a high level for the duration of the season. I think he's going to have some good games, but I think he's going to be inconsistent at times too, right? And with that inconsistency comes knocking off the rust and stuff like that. And I don't know if the Jets get off to a bad start, right? It could go downhill very fast because Aaron Rodgers isn't the type of guy that's going to lock in for the duration of a season if his team is just playing like trash, right? He's the guy that's going to check out and be like, yo, it is what it is. I'm done. So I think if he does play, stay healthy, I think they'll be a good football team. I think they'll be on the verge of making the playoffs, right? Because I think they got enough over there. I do think they got enough. But Aaron Rodgers, the same way that they could be a good football team, they could also be a very bad football team, just depending on how it works out. So, yeah, I like that. I like that question too. He says, because honestly, I don't see the Bills or Patriots having a better record than the Jets or the Dolphins this year. I still think the Bills could be a solid football team. I think they could have a better record than the Jets. I just think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be by 1 or 2 games, right? Especially if Aaron Rodgers stays healthy. I think it'll be close. Glenn says it's 48 degrees here. Glenn, where you at, man? That's cold. It's like it's hot here. Super hot. Q in the building. What's up, man? Shout out to the homie Q. What's good with you, my boy? Who else in here? Glenn says, all those defensive linemen we brought in, we got at the Dollar General. Nah, man, some of them dudes decent. Tart, the dude from the Cowboys, them dudes can play, man. Don't underestimate. Defensive tackle is not a position where you got to be flashy, right? You just got to be able to get in gaps, play your responsibilities, let your linebackers eat, right? So it's not one of those positions where you're looking for guys that are getting sacks. I don't look for that in the defensive lineman. Like my edge guy should be eating, if anything. Edge guy should be killing. So I'm not really pressed to get like the best defensive tackle, right? I just think you could deploy those guys, and I think Christian Wilkins and Siler just played too many slaps last year too. I think they played too many snaps, and as a result of playing on those snaps, that's why they got that production, right? I think if you bring their snaps down some, they're fresher, our units better, right? And it works out for us. Um, Glenn says our first two picks need to play. I agree with that, Glenn. Definitely need to play. We ain't got time to red shirt. Nobody. Kane says Jordan Travis will be a nice pickup for the Dolphins in the late rounds. I like it. If Mike McDaniel, and I don't know if Jordan Travis kind of fits the mold of what we do with offensively, especially at the quarterback position, being able to be accurate, pinpoint timing, stuff like that, anticipation. I don't know. Jordan Travis isn't that yet. Now, if Mike McDaniel says, "Hey, I can work with this guy. I can, possibly get him to that," bro, cool. Make the pick late in the drive. I think that's solid. But I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that's possible. Um, Glenn says every one of those tackles at 21 will be able to play guard or tackle, and that's what I like. If those tackles there could play guard or tackle, come in and be able to mow guys down, and that's another thing about the offense. The guy we get is going to have to be pretty athletic, especially at the tackle position, because Mike McDaniel likes to run those outside zone, that outside zone scheme run. So you got to be able to pull out there, get in space, run down the field, make a play on a corner, chop them down, and make a play so you can get your running back so you can spring them. So, I mean, I think that's important. So he's got to be able to move. He's got to be athletic, right? So that's going to be important. That's going to be an important aspect in terms of him being able to play football in this system, right? And if he goes to the guard position and he's athletic, he can do the thing. He can play. He can definitely play in that box. If he's a tackle and can move like that, I'm sure he could go to guard and get up to the linebackers, the inside guys, and make plays, right? Maybe every now and then you run up to the safety and cut a guy off too. Happens. It happens. Tom Nadon says JPJ is available. We will see. We will see. A lot of people talking about JPJ in the draft. JR Black, what's good? Great day, CB and chat family. What's good with y'all, man? Brewer is better at guard, not center. I don't know. So I've watched a lot of Brewer, and I think he could play both, right? I think he's a really good center because of the scheme that we run here in Miami, right? If we're running an outside zone scheme, Brewer does a really good job of taking the angles and being able to cut off guys who are in very difficult techniques. So if a guy's in a 2-eye or a shade or a 3 or something like that, and you can get him reached, right? Get your body position around him, get him cut off. That's very difficult to do from a center's perspective. And Brewer's really good at that. He's tremendous at doing that. And I would say almost better than Connor Williams in terms of like just being able to move in that horizontal direction. Now, when it comes to just blocking in general, Connor Williams is a much better run blocker in general, but Brewer's just better at taking those angles and using those angles to his advantage, for sure. Sko, what's good with you? Jets, Jets, Jets. No, we don't do that.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Nah, we don't do that. We don't do that. Ronnie N, what's good with you, man? What's up with you? Pittsburgh, hey, Tua the GOAT. Tua is the GOAT. I hear you. Tua's that dude. What y'all know, man? Tua Leroy in the building.
All right, Leroy. Who's the one and only Mac?
I am.
Oh, God damn. Let me go, motherfucker. Let me go. Oh.
Yeah, you know that's Tua Leroy. Stop playing with that boy, man. Stop playing with him. Pittsburgh offense has probably will be DN, but I like offensive line, praying O tackle. Uh Fontenot is there. Yeah. I mean, honestly, we're gonna have some options. I mean, you got Jalen Phillips coming off an injury. You got Chubbs coming off an injury. You brought in Barrett. Um, you brought in some linebackers who can rush the passer too. It's going to be interesting. I do think Miami needs to try to get younger at the edge position. You need an up and coming guy. You still got Jalen Phillips, but you still need another up and coming guy. You still need another tackle too. Like you need a tackle you can groom after Armstead. You got Kendall Lamb as a backup this year, but you still want to get you some guys that you can groom. Point blank period. You got to. You got to. Um, my man Glenn says Aaron Rodgers has not thrown a 300 game since December 12th, 2021. Jeez, is that the case? He hasn't thrown a 300-yard game? Wow. That's if that's true, that's crazy. That's a long time ago. That is a very long time ago. Canes, what's up? I'm not gonna bash Tua today. Don't worry. That's funny. Oh man. I'm just checking something. I'm checking the text message real quick. Let me see here. Okay, all right. Tua the GOAT in this joint. Sco, what's good? Glenn, Tua can't win big games. Man, stop the big game narrative is a little cheesy to me. It is. Why are y'all still on this big game? All right, so what big games has Tua lost? Ooh, LeBron just hit a 3 at the buzzer. Um, y'all gotta tell me this big game. This big game narrative. Y'all killing me with this. Hold on one second. Yeah, y'all killing me with the big game narrative. Tua's won some games. He's had some moments. I think it's more of like a team thing. And I know people want to blame Tua for everything. I get it, people. I get it. It's a quarterback position. I'm not even gonna blame y'all. I'm gonna just blame the media, right? If you look at my shirt, it says football, right? And with the emphasis on the all, right? The emphasis on the all here at the end because it really does take an entire team, an entire organization to kind of get a team to the Super Bowl. It's not easy, right? So I know people want to say it's on Tua, but it's more to it than that. It really is, right? And I know y'all want to focus in on Tua, but you got to have a team around you. Staying healthy is a part of it. Being able to execute is a part of it. Putting yourself in good situations, playing at home instead of playing on the road. That's part of it. Like, there's a lot of variables that come, that come with it. But y'all, yeah, I know y'all be on it, boy. Tom Nadon says we replace D in free agency till Phillips, Chubb get healthy. So O-line. I like it. O-line built through the trenches, protect Tua. You're gonna pay him. You're gonna put, you're gonna invest in him. So yeah, you definitely got to protect him. Glenn says, but Tua can win the games he is supposed to win. Yeah, so Tua can win the games he's supposed to win, and Tua can win the games that people think he can't win. Like, there's no way people would have thought that Tua would go out and outduel Justin Herbert in game 1 of last year. There's no way you thought that he would have thrown 6 touchdowns versus Lamar last year. He outplayed Goff last year when they played Detroit. Down 14-0 in Detroit, I think. I'm pretty sure we were down 14-0 in Detroit last year. Ended up coming back and winning that game. So he's had some good moments. Game winning drive versus Dak and the Cowboys. He had some good moments this year. He's had some bad moments, but for people to say that Tua has regressed as a player, that I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense to me. Because he stayed healthy and he played well. Now he played safe, right? He played it safe by not taking a lot of hits and trying to avoid taking hits, right? But that's what he should be doing. You should be trying to stay healthy at this point, right? Now, you've proven that you can stay healthy, right? Now it's about just being the best you, right? No longer that weight is off your back, right? You don't have to prove that to anybody else. And we got 40 in the building. Do me a favor, please just punch the like button. That's all I ask. You don't have to donate, you don't have to support. It helps, but please do me a favor and punch the like button while you're in here. Appreciate you guys. If you want to donate, you can hit the super chat button or join the membership. I appreciate you. Right? So getting back to it. Like I kind of forgot my train of thought, but yeah, like when it comes to the games, he's gonna win some games that um and that's the thing too. Winning games isn't a QB stat. It's a team stat. So when people say wins, I kind of look at them sideways, like Tua didn't win this game, he didn't win this big game. Well, the team didn't win the damn game, right? Now Tua's a part of that puzzle, definitely a part of the puzzle. But man, it's not something that you could do solely by yourself as a quarterback. Just can't happen. Just can't happen. Um, Tua to go says Tua almost broke the record versus Broncos, 77 points. McDaniels didn't let it happen. Yeah, McDaniels wasn't having it. I would have broke that bear. I would have broke it. Kevin Lee says, "What's good, CB? 5 days into the draft. Let's go. I'm excited. Draft week. Miami Dolphins get to pick up some more key players to help them make this run at the Super Bowl. That's what it's about, making this dang run at the Super Bowl." Sco says, Glenn, did he beat any playoffs team? He beat the Dallas Cowboys. Who else did he beat? He beat some other teams too. I don't know. Says TD will be happy losing until November. Nah, hopefully TD ain't on that wave. Hopefully not. I think TD wants to see the Dolphins win games. I just think TD don't like Tua. Point blank period. He's just not a Tua guy. He's been on that wave for a very long time, right? He's been on the opposite side of that spectrum, and that's just where he resides. Do you agree with TD on drafting to his brother? No, I think that's a terrible play. I would much rather draft like Jordan Travis or Milton or somebody if we're gonna have a guy like that. I don't like the brothers being on the same team. I feel like it's counterproductive. Like, why would you want your brother on the team with you? Um, it's competitive. Like, you want it to be competitive, and it's not going to be as competitive if you have your brother on the team. It's like your brother don't want to see you get hurt. He don't want to see you not play, right? So I think that's a terrible idea. I would never do that. And TD, honestly, I think TD is just saying that. Um, hold on a second. Um, hold on one second. Two. All right. Move up for Bowers. Oh, I like Bowers. I like Bowers as a player, man. I think he'd be a great addition to the offense. Trading up for him, I think that's rough. I think we need all the picks we can get. Um, unless you trade something from next year, right? And you just say, "Hey, we're going all in." Um, it's tough, man. Oh, all right. Lou in the building. Lou, what's good with you? Uh oh. Somebody popped in the back. What's going on? Shout out to the homie Lou in the building. What's good with you? Come on, man. Tighten up. Get yourself together.
What's good, CB? What's good?
What's up, man? What's going on with you? How you been, bro?
Man, chilling, man. Having to fight with these casuals all over the world.
Bruh. Why you fighting with the casuals, bro? What is going on out here in these in these YouTube streets, man? What's popping,
Man,
man?
it's rough out here, CB, man. It's rough.
Why, man? What I mean, y'all argue every day about Chris Greer and the same stuff, bro.
Nah, y'all's too many people. Y'all, that ain't me. It's
I
crazy
mean,
work.
I mean, so what are the narratives out there right now, Lou? Catch me up. Catch me up, dog.
Well, some of the narrative, CB. I think and it was great conversation yesterday. I'll give you your flowers on the AFC East roundtable, but it was kind of the same narrative that you were fighting yesterday, right? Like, bro, Chris Greer just gets blamed for everything that happens on this team. Like, if Tua Tagovailoa was spotted today, CB in Miami with his shoes untied, it would be Chris Greer's fault, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's everything is this man, and it's hard for me to imagine that we go from the beginning of the season where a lot of us in the fan base were like, man, this is probably the best roster a lot of us have seen, or at least a roster that should be competing in the NFL. To me,
Yeah.
that's what the general manager's job is, CB, right? Like, to create and build a talented roster to compete in this league. And as far as I can see, bro, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's me that I'm wrong, or you, CB, because I think you would kind of agree with me. But Chris Greer, to that extent, has done his job, bro. He has put a team in Miami that should be able to compete with every team in this league, right? Like, he's done his job, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think and that's always been my thing, Lou. It's like the GM can only do so much because he ain't coaching a damn thing, bro. He is literally just bringing players in the building, right? I mean, if you bring good players in the building, right? I mean, the Miami Dolphins, this roster had the most Pro Bowlers it's ever had in a long time. Um, the most players in the top 100 that it's ever had. Like, I mean, when we look at the roster was, I mean, legit. Now, you get hurt down the stretch and injuries happen. I mean, that's a part of football, right? You didn't expect to be decimated like that. And people will say, oh, it's because you get injury riddled players, right? I just don't think that's the case. I think sometimes the way you use guys as coaches determines how guys stay healthy, and I think that's a part of it too. So if people say, "Oh, you're getting injury riddle players," it's like, well, you also have coaches that are playing these guys a ton of snaps. They aren't substituting them at all, and as a result of that, they're getting injured. So it's just it's give and take, man. I just know that if the Dolphins were to flop this year, I wouldn't be looking at Chris Greer first. That wouldn't be the first person I look at. First person I look at would be Mike McDaniel, and it would be like, bro, you dropped the ball on this one. How did you let this happen? And that's where the conversation would start. It wouldn't start with Chris Greer.
I agree, bro. I agree. Let me touch on your original point about the injury players or the concern, right? CB, you played this game, bro. Again, on Twitter, I've seen some of your accolades
Oh
rising,
man, the
right?
plaques. You seen?
I seen the plaques.
I haven't showed the plaques yet, but they coming. And I heard somebody out there got plaques too. I want them. I want to see them plaques on Twitter. I really want to see them shits straight up.
Hey, well, I'm gonna stay out of that conversation, right? I'm not gonna indulge in that. But just for the record, you played the game, CB. Like,
Yeah.
bro, what players are not nicked up or injured, bro? Like, if you go in free agency, you're probably gonna come
Yeah.
out with a player that's been injured before.
At
I mean,
least, at least. I mean, and I think it's honestly very rare to find guys who aren't injured in the NFL at any point.
exactly.
I think everybody in the NFL has an injury at some point for the most part, whether it's ankle or sitting out a couple games. It happens, bro. That's just the nature of football. When you're out there going hard every single play, sometimes you get rolled up on. Sometimes, and it don't be your fault sometimes, but it's like, come on, dog. Like it happens. So I can't kill guys for that. Now, I can kill coaches, right? When you're leaving guys in the game and you're down, 30 points
You're down 30, right?
and you tear an Achilles. It's like, bro, like that's on coaching. And that's you gotta be smarter, right? So that's my take there. It's like, bro, that's when you kill coaching. Like, bro, there's no excuse for that. Take everybody out at that point. Put everybody in. Let the backups get reps. Put Cam Smith in. Put all them other dudes in who you feel like who can't see the field. Get them some time. Get them some reps. Get them some film. So you can evaluate them. Like you shouldn't be
1000%.
keeping them guys in the game. That's crazy.
Bro, it's nonsense what this fan base said. Even forget about the players in free agency that you might want to come that might have injuries. How many times have we heard CB since the draft is 5 days away, right? There's players coming out of college with injury concerns.
Oh yeah,
What are you
of
not?
course.
You're not supposed to draft them if they're one of the best players in the draft, and let's say they fall to you, maybe because they had an ankle injury in college or something. You're not supposed to look at them or take them because, bro, like, what are we talking about? It's a violent sport that injuries will occur. That has nothing to do with the job the general manager has done, right? And when I hear this narrative, CB, and I've said this in Twitter, and I believe I said it today on another platform, I'll say it here as well.
Yeah.
When I hear the Chris Greer narrative, well, he didn't get the job done, right? Oh my God, he should have had a backup plan for the backup plan, the backup plan for the injuries, right? Okay,
Bro.
cool. Bro, we won 11 games, CB.
Yeah.
We had Isaiah Wynn. He got out the starting left guard, right? He was out by week 4. Connor Williams, I think, was out by like week 7. You end up losing Phillips and Holland during the season, Bradley Chubb, all these guys, right? Bro, at the end of the day, Chris Greer still had put a roster together that won 11 games.
11 games.
They made the playoffs.
2 years in a row.
If you don't have a roster, right, with all the injuries that Miami had, do you think a roster that wasn't kind of built the right way would have won 11 games, CB?
Say that one more time.
Do you think if Chris Greer went in and did a good job, right, with like putting depth and guys that can play, do you think with the amount of injuries Miami dealt with, they would have been able to win 11
Oh
games?
hell no. No, it just wouldn't have been possible, bro.
So then how did Chris Greer get it right? How did he not get his job right by building a roster? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it don't make sense to me, bro.
And honestly, like when it comes down to it, right? And when we really evaluate it, right? If we look at a couple games, like there's no way we should have lost the Titans game, right? I put that all on coaching. That has nothing to do with Chris Greer at all, right? Nothing to do with Chris Greer. You should have won that game, right? So that's a 12th game right there, right? Down the stretch, you lose to Buffalo at home, right? To win the division. That's a game you could win too. You're very close. You're a score away. So these are still games you're very close in. The only team you really got blew out by was Baltimore. They're the only team that's really smacked you. You could say Buffalo the first game, but I mean, we were in that game in the first half. Connor Williams went down, and then we went to shit at that point, right? So we were in pretty much every game this year, right? And people will say Tua regressed and he got worse. Like it doesn't make sense to me. And the thing that doesn't make sense about that is that, I mean, when you look at Tua's performance last year, he lost us a game by himself. Green Bay clearly lost us a game. 3 picks in the second half cost us a game. He didn't have any games like that this year. I don't even think he had any games like the San Fran game where he was just clearly off, couldn't make plays, and we didn't have an answer offensively, right? So I mean, I think he's gotten better. He took a step back in areas in terms of just being able to make plays on the run and being able to take off and stuff like that. But I think he gets some of that back this year with just feeling more comfortable about, hey, I can stay healthy. I can take hits. This is something I could do.
Yeah, man, I agree. Listen, I don't think we haven't seen the best of Tua. I don't agree with the narrative
Man,
that's out
people say
there.
he's reached his ceiling.
I don't agree.
people will tell you that Tua has reached his ceiling in year 4. Bro,
What
and
was
like I
CB
don't understand it, dog.
John Beck and the group that Tua is working with the QB coaches, right? I believe there's 2 other gentlemen. I don't want to mess up their names, so I won't mention them. But just that unit that he's working with now, right?
Yeah.
It's funny to me how Tua cannot get better working with those guys. But when you do the research and you look at some of the guys those guys have coached and helped work with, right?
Yeah.
Drew Brees, after he left the Chargers to go to New Orleans, got with those guys. He ended up getting better and putting a
Yes.
Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
Tom Brady worked with them. You've seen Tom Brady's resume and what he accomplished. And here's the kicker, CB, right? Everybody tells me that Lamar Jackson is an elite guy. And when the narrative was with Lamar coming into the league, he wasn't a good thrower of the football. He had to develop. You
Yeah.
know who Lamar Jackson worked with, CB?
Who was that?
With John Beck and the group that Tua just went to. And the
Yeah.
past 2 seasons, where you can honestly evaluate the film and look at Lamar Jackson and say he's gotten better from the pocket, his mechanics have gotten better, and he's an overall better quarterback for it. So if those guys went over there and got better, explain to me, CB, how the hell Tua Tagovailoa can't get better?
Bro, it's going to happen naturally, right? So Tua Tagovailoa has been working with Nick Hicks, which Nick Hicks isn't a quarterback guy. He's a trainer. He's more physical, and he's going to do stuff to help Tua. Like McDaniel is going to tell Tua, "Hey, this is what you need to be working on," and he's Nick. What Tua's going to do is go to Nick Hicks and be like, "Hey, this is what McDaniel told me I need to work on. Let's work this stuff." Right? Tom House and this other group of guys, it's kind of work. They're kind of working a totally different aspect of Tua's game, right? They're working on his physical abilities, being able to use his hips, use his base, make the throws he needs to make, probably get off platform and make those throws as well. So it's kind of like a totally different situation and adding more stuff to your repertoire. I think as football players, right? You're constantly working on things you can do to get better as a player, right? Each day you go to practice, our coach used to tell us, hey, what you did the day before, you need to find a way to get better. Evaluate yourself daily, watch the film, go outside, put it to use, put it to work, right? And I think Tua is doing that. He's trying to get better as a player. I think that's all we can ask for as Miami Dolphin fans. And when people say, "Oh, he's reached the ceiling. Oh, he'll never be good enough," I just can't take them serious, bro. I can't take them serious.
Well, I can't take them serious, CB, because they told me Tua wouldn't even get to the level he's at now. These are the same people that told me that.
The same people, bro. Yeah, the same people. They're the same people.
And again, I was critical of Tua his first 2 years, but obviously the kid has put in the work. That's a credit to him, right? He's starting to feel a little bit more comfortable, and he's playing better, bro. He's not going to be perfect. He's not going to come out here every Sunday for 17 weeks and have 153 passer rating. He's not going to be 22 of 24 for 400 yards and no interceptions and 8 touchdowns. That's not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
going to have bad games. He's going to have moments where he comes up short. All we can do as fans, CB, is hope that for 11 to 12 weeks, Tua plays at an MVP level. That
Yeah, that's
he's good
it.
enough to get us into the dance. And then we take our chances because in the playoffs, bro, you're not playing bad teams. You're playing good teams, right?
Yeah.
So we just got to get over that hump. But the narrative that we're not a good team and bro, it's it's just crazy to me. And just let the season play out. Because I think, again, and I said this last year, know they had injuries. But if we don't have injuries, CB, I don't think Tua's taking a step back. I think he's taking a step forward. I think Mike McDaniel, third year, I think he's going to get better. I just think we need time to build this thing, and we're on the right track, Bob. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's see if it can happen. I just don't know where everybody wants to blow everything up, right? The narrative is, CB, people are frustrated, right? There's 25 years of we haven't won.
Yeah.
And then when you ask them how to fix it, their narrative is, well, blow it up, fire the general manager, get rid of Tua, get rid of Tyreek. Do you think we're going to be better? Do you think
No.
if that scenario happens, we're winning 13 games next year with a rookie quarterback, a new head coach?
Well, Michael Penix, bro. Michael Penix gonna take us to the promised land,
Do you
bro.
see what I'm saying, CB, bro? Like, come on, what are we talking about? These same people that talk about patience and, oh my God, we can't wait no more. They want to blow it up and start a rebuild. Like,
Yeah.
what are we talking about?
Yeah, man. It's a wild space to be in. The fact that we still are having these conversations about Tua, and I mean, at this point, the organization is clearly committed to Tua. Even with the Chris Greer press conference, he clearly scoffed at the first round draft pick for a quarterback. It's not something he's serious about. They believe in Tua. I think if the organization believes in Tua, I think the Miami Dolphins community should get behind Tua and rally behind him and say, "Hey, let's go get the best team, and let's go figure out a way to win football games with this guy because he's clearly going to be our future." So that's just where I'm at on it, and that's where I've always been. I'm gonna trust Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel to get the job done, right? I mean, Mike McDaniel came in the first year and kind of turned Tua into a different player, right? Can we? I mean, what's your thoughts on that, Lou? Is that something
One
you're kind of on board with?
1,000%, bro. 1,000%. He's
So
helped Tua tremendously. Absolutely.
helped him tremendously, right? And even if in last year, right, we saw Tua making some business decisions, not making the decisions to take off and run or lower his head versus people and stuff like that. But he still made a lot of plays throughout the season, led the league in passing yards, did a lot of good stuff, right? I mean, top 5 in multiple categories, right? I don't think you can be mad at that as a Dolphin. Now, you might say, hey, in these moments, we'd like to win games, but I don't think that's just on Tua. I think that's on the team, like defense, offense, special teams, everything, right? You got to find a way to make plays. And I'm not just going to put that on Tua. I don't think it's fair. I just don't think that's fair.
Yeah, listen, it's definitely not fair, right? Could Tua have played better in certain games, in certain situations? Absolutely. But in the same breath, right? As much as I love Tua, I can say that. And as much as I love Tyreek, I can say that Tyreek in every big game this season, right? And I was one of
He's
the first
folded.
people,
He made
bro, he's
yeah
folded.
yeah he's
He's dropped
folded.
touch. Bro, in the 14-14 game against Buffalo, he dropped a touchdown, right? He dropped a walk-in touchdown against Philadelphia. He dropped again, it was a screen, but he led to
Yeah,
7 points against Kansas City when he fumbled the ball and they scooped it up and scored. Like, the narrative that Tua don't show up in big games, which again could be valid, right? I'm not here to debate that. But there's other key pieces that on the team that haven't played well in those big games neither. So to your point, no, I would say it's not just a Tua issue. I would say under the bright lights in some of the bigger games, there's a lot of people that have folded. The coach included. Mike
yes,
McDaniel in games, in big games,
yes,
has not been
yes.
good in calling timeouts and game management and some of the challenges. He's been horrible in big games.
And
So
why? But see, and that's the thing too. It's like people don't consider that stuff. Like they want to say it's on Tua in the moments, but Mike McDaniel is, bro. He's been bad in some moments. Like, let's be real, right? Even when it comes to like in game adjustments, even when it comes to like play calling, sometimes a play calling was like, what the hell are we doing? Three drives straight, we can't get it going. Like, and you just look at it, it's like, bro, at some point you got to run the ball or figure out a way to run the ball, force yourself to run the ball. And I mean, you just can't be in these pass happy situations. And I think Mike McDaniel sometimes gets in his own way because he's so caught up in being the flashy guy that has the flashy plays and that has a quarterback that's throwing it around the yard. Sometimes it's cool to just fucking line up and run the football and get 3 and 4 yards a pop, keep the clock running, use the play action to your advantage and eat. And I just don't think he does that enough. I think sometimes he gets into these situations where he throws 3 passes straight and it's 3 and out and we're punting and looking crazy, looking stupid. So,
CB, I couldn't believe this stat that I had seen, right? 88.6% of the time in short yardage. This goes to where everybody says the offensive line was horrible. And yeah, they play bad in certain games, in certain situations, right?
yeah.
But again, that goes to the overall. No one's perfect, but for the most part, again, it's astounding to me. And ECB, we've been on personal phone calls with other people, just me and you, right? And I usually fight the narrative, man. We don't have to run the ball in short yardage. I don't see there's a problem with passing the ball.
Bro.
But then I see the stat of Mike McDaniel in short yardage situations. Raheem Mostert, 88.6% of the time, CB, on short yardage, it said 3rd and 1s or 4th and shorts. 88.6% of the time, handing the ball off to Raheem Mostert, he picked up the first down.
Bro, that is
You
a
cannot argue with
wild
those
stat.
stats, bro. That's wild, CB. So
That's,
even with me, I'm admitting to people like you, CB, that would preach that to me. I was wrong, bro. In short yardage, if you got a
bro,
back that almost 90% of the time is picking up first down, why the hell are you throwing the ball?
why? Why? What's the point? And I said this throughout the season, all season, bro. When you get to 3rd and short, right? 4th and short, and you put yourself in a position to throw the football, it's a very low percentage play, right? You're probably going to get that play probably 10, 15, 20% of the time. You're probably going to get that conversion 10 to 15, 20% of the time if you're passing the ball. If you're running the ball, you have a 80% chance because you're literally just going to hand it off, have guys block, and in the event that somebody does get loose, they still got to make a play and push the guy backwards, right? The guy's momentum is going to carry him for a yard. That's just the nature of football, the nature of physics, right? So all you got to do is hand the ball off. But Mike McDaniel would get into these situations and it's just like, oh, I'm going to put the ball into the hands of my quarterback and I'm going to have him throw it to Tyreek on a fade in the end zone. Like the lowest percentage throw you could possibly, you got to throw the ball damn near perfect. You got to drop it in a bucket. It's literally like dropping the ball in a bucket. And that shit is very hard to do. Right. So you put yourself in a position where you do that. And it's like, bro, you're making bad decisions. Those are bad decisions. Right. And anybody who knows football knows, hey, that's just a low percentage play. You're going to put yourself in a bad position. Guys don't execute those often in these type of situations. So it's got to be on McDaniel too. And even the defense wasn't great down the stretch. Like, and that's why Fangio isn't here, right? And people will say, "Oh, it's about the relationship. Oh, it's about his production too." Right? Fangio has some studs over there. Like he could have, like his team, his unit could have been better. I think everybody could have been better. It went from Mike McDaniel to Vic Fangio, all of that. All of them guys could have been better, but I'm not gonna put it on Greer because Greer put the players in his lap, bro. It's like, bro, do what you do. Be a good coach and make it happen. And that was my thing with Flores too. Like, it don't matter who they get you, bro. Coach them up and get them going. Right? I mean, I think that's part of the game. As coaches, we are in a position, we got to put players in a position to be successful. Do what you got to do, but it's got to be for the betterment of the team. And I don't think Mike McDaniel's always had the team in mind. Sometimes it was about him and his ego and making plays look cute or doing things when he thought it was work or when it would be a low percentage play, and just going against the odds, going against the numbers. And I think that's bad coaching when you do that, because you put yourself in bad positions, and that's what he did.
I would agree. I would agree. Listen, there's many factors of why this team kind of failed down the stretch, and there a lot of factors. It's just when we just try to pin it on, well, it's a
Yeah.
Chris Greer problem, it's a Tua problem, and then everybody else is absolved. It's just it don't work like that, right? It's 53 men that, bro, football is 53 men. You have to have, it's crazy to say, but you have to have some luck too
Oh
to win the
yeah.
Super Bowl and stuff.
Oh
You have to
yeah.
have a lot of things come together, bro. And
Yeah.
we just haven't, for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened. And but that does that make us a bad team? Does that make Chris Greer a bad general manager? Does that, no. I just think there's some growing pains that we've been going through. But I'd much rather be in the place we are now, CB,
Yeah.
than where we were 7, 8 years ago, right? Where it was Thanksgiving Day and we were talking about, hey, what are we doing in the draft? Because we had 4 wins in the
Bro.
middle of November, right?
Yeah.
Like, bro, we're mid-December. I mean, again, we're in week 15 last year, CD, or 16 when we played Baltimore, and we were playing for the overall #1 seed in the AFC. Screw the division, right? When was the last time we could honestly say that week 16 Miami was in competition for the #1 overall seed?
Bro, it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened in over 20 years,
So
dog.
so how so how are we a bad team, CB?
It's
Right?
not.
Like, how is that a bad quarterback? How is that a bad general manager?
I don't understand it, Lou. I think Miami Dolphins are just in a different. Some fans are just in a different headspace. I just think they are in a space where they've heard so much negative stuff about the team that that's the space they live in, right? And I don't understand it, because honestly, as a Dolphin, um, looking, these past 2 years have been refreshing, right? We've been in a position to get in the playoffs and to play, even with being injured, even with our quarterback missing 6 games last year, or whatever he missed last year, even with injuries decimating the offensive line and the defensive line this year, we still were in position to go into the playoffs and be competitive. It's like, bro, you can't really ask for more than that. Like, and I know people want a Super Bowl, but there's also 29 other teams that haven't won Super Bowls in the last 5 years. Bro, that's just the nature of it. Like, the Chiefs have won 3, the Rams won 1, and the Bucks won 1. How many other teams got chips? How many other teams are competing for championships? Like, come on. If anybody, the Ravens should be there. They should they should have one, because they've had the great quarterback that people say he is, right? Great defense that people say they have. They should have one. And if they don't have one, why should we have one?
Great running game as well over there in Baltimore.
Bro, like and they are
What
much
about
more
what?
established, bro. The coach, Jim
One
Harbaugh, has been
thousand
there for
percent.
how long, bro?
1,000%.
Bro, how long has the organization been running like a well-oiled machine, bro? Like, y'all think the Miami Dolphins the only ones not winning Super Bowls? Like, what are we talking about, dog? Y'all gotta be more realistic. Y'all
Bro,
gotta be more
it's
realistic.
just they got to be better, CB. You brought up the Baltimore Ravens. I'll bring up supposedly another great quarterback, right? Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. He's had weapons. He's had a running
Oh
game.
my
He,
gosh.
he's had a coach that's been there 8 years, right? Consistent. He's had a top 10 defense. Hell, the last 5 years or 4 years, he's had a top 5 defense. They haven't won it. Why
They
haven't they
have,
got it done? Right? With an
bro.
elite quarterback.
It's
Like,
hard to do, bro. It's hard to do. And they don't understand that. It's sad that they don't understand that. This shit is hard to do. Winning the Super Bowl is not easy. If anybody was if anybody should have won it, it should have been the Bills. It should have been the Ravens. They should have been there. Who else has some good teams? Who in the NFC has some good teams? Like the Rams had some good teams. They
the
got
Rams.
there.
Well, the
Um,
Eagles.
the
The Eagles.
Eagles, bro. The Eagles should have one, bro. The Eagles should have one.
How about the Dallas Cowboys? Dallas
Bro,
has a lot of talent over there on both sides of the ball.
loaded with talent, but can't find a way to get it done, bro. There are a lot of teams in the league who, when we talk about preseason stuff, right? Every year we hear about 8 to 10 teams that they say are better than the Miami Dolphins and that should be winning Super Bowls and that will be in contention, right? And they rarely talk about the Miami Dolphins in that position. They just kind of started talking about us in that light. But there are 8 to 10 teams that are always there, and guess what? They always fall short. They always fall short, bro. It's like, how y'all gonna kill us? And bro, it's other teams that are in way better position than us. Established, got offenses, got defenses, got the great quarterbacks y'all say they got. Cincinnati, bro. Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl. They ain't been nowhere close since.
What about the Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson?
Oh man, you can't tell me, bro. They were loaded too.
Absolutely,
It's a lot of teams that were loaded, but they don't. They just say the Miami Dolphins, bro. Shout out to the homie Irv for becoming a member. He renewed his membership for 4 months. He said, "Where them hitters at? Heat in the playoffs." I see you, man. I see the Miami Heat. They in
Celtics in 5. Celtics in 5, man. Stop. Don't lie to him, CB.
Celtics in 5. Shout out to the homie Irv with the re-up on the membership. Appreciate you, homie. Hey, Irv, killing you right now. He said, Lou, where was DeMar at? Them boys showed up. Okay.
Hey, man, listen. Hey, you lucky I'm not saying a full sweep. I'm giving you a gentleman's sweep in 5, man. You might get swept in 4. Stop, Irvin. You know you're out. One and done, man.
That's funny. That is funny. Dang, bro. I mean, my Magic lost today. It's all right though. They lost game 1. It's okay. We gonna bounce back. If they still won at home, or won at their crib, then we gonna be all right. Because I think we're gonna win at home, man. But let's talk about the draft a little bit. Let's pivot. Talk about the draft. If you were making a pick, Lou, what would be your pick at 2021? What position would you go with, and what type of player would you rock with?
Well, I think Chris Greer has kind of put us in a position, CB, this year where we could go best player available. And I know a lot of people want trench play, and I'm with it too. If you've identified somebody and he's there, then go get your guy.
Yeah.
Right? For me, though, it's hard for me to believe that Mike McDaniel, this going into his 3rd year, he's never had a first-round pick. We've seen how giddy he was in the press conference when kind of Greer was saying, well, 21's up for debate. We could, trade out. We could do this. We do that. Mike McDaniel kind of looked and said, well, I really want to keep my first overall.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel, I look at him, he's an offensive guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know it's going to sound crazy. Now, I'm not reaching for a receiver. I wouldn't go for Xavier Worthy, right, the kid out of Texas, because I think he's kind of like what we already have in Tyreek and
speed guys.
Yeah, right, a smaller guy, speed guy. But let's say in the scenario that Brian Thomas is there, right, a 6'3" guy coming off 17 touchdowns at LSU. He's 6'3", he runs a 4.3, right? Tyreek mentioned about a month ago in a podcast he was doing, he would love to have a player like that on the field with him so he can maybe go back into his more natural position in the slot, right?
And that's where Tyreek needs to be. I don't even know why he's on the outside, bro. I don't understand it.
If I'm looking at a Brian Thomas on the outside, maybe Waddle opposite him, Reek on the inside, right? Jonnu Smith, you added him running up the seam.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. Listen, I'm not going to be mad. If it's an offensive lineman, I'm good. If it's an edge pass rusher, that would be good. I just think, an offense, if an offensive weapon, CB, sounds real nice to me, bro. It does. And I know a lot of people ain't going to like to hear it, but I think that's where I'm leaning. I'm not reaching for one, right? But if the right one is there, CB, I wouldn't be mad at it. You see what I'm saying? That's just where I'm at.
And honestly, I don't think you're wrong in that, because at this type of at 21, right? And when you look at our football team, you just see how much the weapons like help us win games, right? And I know the trench play is important, but I always feel like you could get a guy like that in the trenches, second, third, fourth round. You can find offensive linemen in the draft that come in and be starters, right? Um, like those high end tackles, bookend tackles, those guys who will be around for the next 10 to 15 years. Those guys are guys you won't really find in those second and third and fourth rounds. But I feel like you can find some guys, especially if you're looking for guards and stuff like that. You can find guys in the third, fourth round. So
Absolutely.
so when you look at like premium position, like receiver, like we got to think about the future. Like, are we gonna have to will we move Waddle at some point? Will we move Tyreek? Right? I don't think Waddle's a number one receiver to me. He's not a number one. He's like a one beat, in my opinion. I think Tyreek is a bona fide number one, right? I think you may be in a position where you go receiver and you think about the future. Like maybe one of those guys won't be here, and maybe Brian Thomas or one of these guys steps up and be that second receiver that you need. Like, I mean, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, listen, and a lot of people might not want to hear this, but this is just where I'm at, CB. For me. Let's say a guy like Brock Bowers, right, the tight end out of
Ooh,
Georgia.
dog.
Let's say let's say he's sitting there at 16, 17, right, and you feel like he might not make it to 21. Or a Brian Thomas is there at 16, 17. I know it's not going to be the popular opinion,
Mm,
right? But would you be willing, bro, if you told me that I could have, again, I already said how much I would want Brian Thomas, a guy like Brock Bowers, if he's sitting there at 17, bro, I'm on the phone. I'm trying to see if I can go from 21 to 17.
couple spots.
Bro, and bro, because that's a generational talent. Now, I'm not saying it's going to work out or not. We would never know. But I'm willing to make that investment because, in my opinion, CB, for the last 30 minutes, we've been talking about how good this team is and
Yeah,
we feel how close we are. Go get that generational talent, bro, that could
yeah,
possibly take us over the hump, right?
for
And that's
sure,
just where
for
I'm at,
sure.
bro. That, again, I could be wrong. I'm not saying what I'm saying is right, but that we're just talking about what we would do. I'm telling you, bro, if one of those guys are there, that's what I would be doing. I
Yeah.
know that for a fact.
And I like it. And Doc says you need it. We need a big receiver, and you're right. I mean,
Absolutely.
we need a possession guy. Like we need a guy who we could say, hey, you're gonna run a 10-yard comeback. You're gonna put a move in that guy. We're gonna throw it to you. You're gonna catch the ball. And we're gonna get the first down. Like we don't really have guys like that on the roster. Or hey, we need to throw this back shoulder throw, and we need you to go up and get it on a high point and make a play. That could be a guy like Bowers, or it could be a guy like Brian Thomas in this offense, just depending on how you use them. So I do like the thought of getting a weapon, because you got to understand, Mike McDaniels, you said it, he's an offensive guy, bro. So and he's never had a first round pick for the Miami Dolphins. So
Exactly.
so he may be saying, bro, I'm using this and I'm using this to bolster my offense. I feel like I didn't have what I need last year at those, 3 and 4 spots. Waddle went down at times, and it was just a huge drop off, right? It was a huge drop off, and we couldn't we had a hard time fighting through the injuries, especially when Tyreek was out the game and stuff like that. So we just gotta, I think you gotta get more premier talent um, in that wide receiver room. I think it's going to help that room. It strengthens that room and it gets everybody better.
Yeah, man, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. And now again, am I going to come in these spaces or YouTube channels and cry if it's an offensive lineman? No.
Yeah, yeah. See,
Or a
but
pass
see,
rusher.
that's you though. A lot of people will come in here and cry
Oh,
if it's
absolutely.
bro. It's like, y'all, hey,
Absolutely.
it don't matter what the Miami Dolphins do. Sometimes it's just never good enough for some people, and that's what y'all got to understand too. If you're in Twitter and in these spaces and around and listening to YouTube, sometimes whatever the Dolphins do is just not good enough, right? You need to ask people like, hey, is there anything you like about the Miami Dolphins? Like any moves you like? And sometimes they won't even have anything to tell you that they like, which is crazy to me. It's crazy.
1,000%. Right.
But I'm glad we can kind of put things into perspective, Lou, and I'm glad you kind of joined me on this show to just talk a little bit about, some of the narratives, some of the pushback. Hopefully we can do this again soon. I really want to talk, especially post draft, about what the Miami Dolphins did and how they approached it. So we'll definitely crank up this week and do something again if you're available, bro.
Man, you already know, man. Listen, again, we troll, we get after it, but my line is always open to you, right? You let me know, because again, I spending most of the day-to-day arguing, it was good to have a civil conversation. And again, not to just agree, but just to have good conversation. Again, I seen a lot of people in the chat saying great show, great conversation. So I think they appreciated it. And anytime, bro. You know how we do.
Yeah. That's what it's about, man. I appreciate you guys coming on, man. Shout out to the homie Lou, always pulling up, man. Appreciate you, bro.
You already know, bro. Y'all be easy. Have a good night.
All right, thanks, bro. Appreciate it. Hey, shout out to the homie Lou, man. Always coming through, man. Always just good conversation. And I know sometimes there needs to be some pushback, and we're gonna find some people to give us some pushback, because and it's gotta be like real conversation. They just can't be trolling, right? I know some guys in the community who are negative that typically just troll, right? But I know some guys who really do have some good arguments as to why they don't like Tua and stuff like that. That's fair. Whatever you say, that's fair, right? And I don't get on people about their opinions, because whatever your opinion is, it is your opinion. That's just, it's all subjective, right? We all look at things differently. But I think the Miami Dolphins are positioning themselves to continue being a good football team, a playoff contender, right? Having a chance to go a winning chip every year. If you can get in the dance, there's a shot. You got a shot. So I appreciate everybody pulling up. We got 67 in the room. Do your boy a favor on the way out. Punch the like button. Hey, I really want to give a shout out to Irv, who donated twice and became a member. Shout out to the homie Irv, who came through with the donations. Shout out to the homie Glenn Paliker for re-ing up on his 2 months too. I appreciate you guys, man. Y'all are big time for that. Hey, if you can't donate, I understand that. Things are tight. People got a lot going on. So if you could do me the favor of maybe sharing this show with maybe 1 or 2 people, right? And just punching that like button for me, I greatly appreciate it, man. Also, get in the comment section, please, after the show. Go to the comment section and tell me some things you'd like to see on the show, because we're going to be cranking up a little bit more consistently now, right? We got some stuff to talk about. The guys are going to get back to work. So let's have some conversations about it. Let's have some conversations. Jump in there. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you want to see, some topics you want to address, and we'll definitely do that, man. But, hey, I appreciate you guys. Love y'all. Y'all already know what time it is, man. It's your boy, Fence Tate with CB83, and I'm out. See ya.
Came from the bottom, that's foreign. I swear that I'm up for the sun in the morning. Oof, hey, I gotta flex. I need a Nike bag, give me the check. I need the money and power, respect, but I promise I'm repping the O to the dead. Hey, oof, I told him out of my way. I don't got nothing to say.